I saw Cynthia Larson at the grocery store today. She mentioned that Jack is back home to run the family business while his brother Jeff recovers from an accident. Brenda Johnson told her daughter Laura. Jack? Laura asked, shoving a can of peas deep into the pantry. Yes, Jack. Remember him? Your husband, or ex-husband. I'm not sure. Is he still your husband? Mom, you know I don't like talking about Jack. I don't know if we're still married. I've never received any divorce papers, Laura reluctantly admitted. You've never filed for divorce, have you? Brenda persisted. No, I haven't, Laura replied, looking at her shoes. He left. I thought he would file. Your situation is the strangest I've ever seen, Brenda declared. He left 6 years ago. No calls, emails, or letters. You can't still love him, or can you? Laura lowered her eyes but said nothing. Oh no, her mother exclaimed. Don't tell me you accept this. He abandoned you. It's his fault. Divorce him since he's back in town. He was great when you married him. Responsible, considerate, hardworking, and devoted. Then he left. You're still young. You need a reliable man and a good family. I make my own decisions, Mom. I'm 27. I have a good job and my own house. I'm not a burden to you and Dad. Stop running my life, Laura replied. I just want you to be happy. You haven't been happy since Jack left. If he loved you, he wouldn't have left. He must have had a girlfriend. No, Jack would never cheat, Laura responded immediately. Her quick response surprised her mother. How could she still defend him after he abandoned her? They hadn't quarreled before he left. What could have caused such an abrupt break? Brenda was sure Laura wasn't telling the whole truth. Laura didn't sleep well that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Jack. He was the most handsome man she had ever known. Fun, calm, and devoted to her. Until she ruined everything. Now he was back in Stone Ridge. Laura knew they would cross paths someday. She didn't know what to say to him. An apology seemed trite. There were no words to describe her remorse. Their relationship was ruined. They could never be the same. 2 days after Laura's initial visit to her mother, she returned. Her younger sister Kate, a graduate student at Ohio State University, arrived after work from her summer job at a local media group. Kate mentioned she had seen Laura's husband, who had come to place some ads, and asked if Laura was interested. Their mother interjected, expressing interest herself, and inquired about his appearance. Kate humorously noted that anyone hoping he had declined in looks would be disappointed, describing him as the most handsome man she had ever seen. Brenda was skeptical, questioning whether he had gotten fat or lost his hair. Kate explained he had looked ragged, wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and that he had been interacting with Donna while she observed from another room, unnoticed by him. Laura asked quietly if he had said anything about regretting their breakup, but Kate replied that he only handed Donna the ad and paid her. She added that his daughter, who was with him, was stunning. Brenda was surprised to learn he had a daughter, leading Kate to explain that his departure was due to getting another woman pregnant. She suggested Laura was lucky to be rid of him, although Kate believed many women would find him attractive in his current appearance. Kate estimated the daughter to be around 12 or 13 years old, which raised questions about the timeline since he was only 28. Brenda reasoned that it was impossible for him to have a 12-year-old daughter at his age. Kate clarified that the girl, introduced as Kansas, was gorgeous and athletic. Laura, still silent, listened as Kate mentioned Kansas's blonde hair, contrasting with Jack's dark hair. Kate pointed out the connection, noting that Laura, as Jack's wife, would technically be Kansas's stepmother, a comment that upset Laura, causing her to leave for the bathroom. Kate felt something was off about the situation, remarking that secrets in a small town rarely lasted long. Meanwhile, as Jack and Kansas left the media office, Kansas inquired about Kate, who had been staring at Jack. Jack explained that Kate was his ex-wife's sister and noted her probable surprise at seeing him. Kansas asked if Laura, his ex-wife, was as beautiful as her sister, to which Jack replied affirmatively, recalling how stunning Laura had been. Kansas expressed her curiosity about their past, particularly why Laura had cheated on him. Jack preferred to keep the details private, emphasizing that if Laura didn't share them herself, no one else needed to know. Kansas admired Jack's forgiving nature, contrasting it with the typical desire for revenge after being wronged. She expressed gratitude for the turn of events that led them to Thompson, where she felt lucky to have Jack as a father figure, even though Brian, her biological father, had been the best. Jack shared a sad smile, acknowledging Brian's instructions for Kansas to call him Daddy if she felt comfortable. Kansas admitted her affection for Jack and the acceptance she felt from him, noting their shared last name as a fortuitous detail. Jack reflected on Brian's foresight in planning for Kansas's future, recalling the adoption process and Brian's wish for Jack to become her father. Kansas reiterated her love for Jack and concern about finding a new mother while Jack was still legally married. Jack reassured her that they would focus on settling in before considering the divorce, emphasizing that any potential new partner would need to accept Kansas fully. In a heartfelt moment, Kansas hugged Jack, and he reassured her of his unwavering love and commitment, reminding her that she and her future children would always be his family. Jack explained to his mother what topics were off limits when he and Kansas moved in. He would help with the family construction business, but wouldn't tolerate interference in his personal life. His mother, Janet, agreed surprisingly quickly. While washing up, Jack overheard Kansas talking to Janet. "Grandma, we saw Laura's sister, Kate. She's very pretty. Do you think Laura is as pretty as her sister?" Jack strained to hear Janet's reply. He had made it clear Laura and her family were off limits. "Laura is beautiful. She was pretty when she married Jack, but now she's a confident, capable woman. I don't see her often, but she's always polite to me. If it were up to me, they'd still be together and give you siblings. But it's not up to me, so we'd better change the subject before your father hears us," Janet concluded. "Dad drove me by the new school," Kansas told Jack as he joined them at the kitchen table. "Their soccer field looks great. I can't wait to try out for the team next Tuesday." "I didn't know you played soccer," Janet said, less enthusiastic than Jack expected. She seemed worried. "It's my favorite sport. I was one of the best players on the travel team in Thompson. We only lost one match," Kansas boasted. "She's being modest," Jack chuckled. "She was far from the best player on the team." "Sounds great," Janet praised, wondering if she should tell Jack who the coach was. She hid a chuckle at the thought of how Jack would react. He insisted no one talk about Laura, and it seemed it might backfire on him. Laura watched the girls practice soccer, noticing a tall blonde girl with impressive skills. As soon as she could, Laura approached her. Sensing her presence, the girl turned to look at Laura. "Hi, I'm the team coach. Everyone calls me Coach or Coach Masterson. You seem to know a lot about soccer." The girl's jaw dropped. "Hello, ma'am. I'm Kansas Masterson. My daddy was your husband years ago. I like soccer, but if you think I can't be treated fairly, I'll understand and try field hockey. I don't want to put you in a difficult position." By now, the other girls had gathered to listen. Laura realized Kansas was Jack's daughter and assured her that playing time would depend on her behavior and effort. "Grandma Masterson knew you were a coach but didn't say anything because of Daddy's rules," Kansas grinned. "I can't wait to see his face when I tell him you're my coach." "Your father isn't here, is he?" Laura asked quickly. "No, he's driving the backhoe this afternoon," Kansas replied. "He's been helping Uncle Jeff since the accident, but he was right about you." "What do you mean he was right about me? What did he say?" Laura asked softly. "Daddy says you're the prettiest, cheating strumpet he's ever seen," Kansas whispered. Laura gasped, fell to her knees, and burst into tears. Kansas expected anger or embarrassment, but was taken aback by Laura's genuine distress. Seeing her reaction, Kansas began to rethink her feelings. She had always hated Laura for supposedly cheating on Jack, but Laura's reaction didn't fit her expectations. Kansas saw how respected Laura was by the other girls. Kansas walked to the bench, expecting to be dismissed. The assistant coach arrived and demanded, "What did you say to Coach Masterson? What's your name?" "I'm Kansas Masterson. I'm sorry if I caused a problem," Kansas apologized. "Masterson? Are you related to Jack Masterson?" the assistant coach asked. "He's my father," Kansas replied. "I think you'd better leave. Coach Masterson is a wonderful woman. She doesn't need reminders of her loser husband," the assistant coach said. Kansas nodded and turned to leave, but felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find herself in the arms of a sobbing Laura. "I'm so sorry, so sorry," Laura repeated, holding Kansas tightly. Kansas stood still as Laura regained control. The other girls watched in silence. "Your father is a fine man. Please stay and join the team," Laura said. "If you're like Jack, you'll be a great addition. I promise I won't get emotional again. Come back, please." Kansas followed Laura back to the bench, facing the other girls. "It's no use denying I broke down earlier. I want you to understand why. This is Kansas Masterson, my ex-husband's daughter. Her sudden appearance has shaken me. I haven't seen her father in 6 years, and finding Kansas here today was a shock. Please treat her kindly. She isn't to blame for any of this." Looking directly at Kansas, Laura asked, "Is your mom around? I'd like to meet her and compliment her on having such a wonderful daughter." "Mom died when I was 3, Kansas answered. "It was just me and Daddy left. I apologize for being rude before. Daddy is punishing me for being such a witch. I'm sorry, Coach Masterson." Laura's mind raced. Kansas's mom died when she was 3, about 10 years ago. Jack was still in high school then. That mystery could wait. We started off wrong, Laura replied. Let's start over. I'm Coach Masterson and you're Kansas. Let's go over the team rules and expectations, then start practice. After practice, Kansas climbed into her grandmother's SUV. How was practice, honey? Janet asked. It went well. The girls are nice and some are good players. I think we'll have a good team, Kansas replied. How did you like the coach? I heard she's nice, Janet asked. Why don't you just ask what you really want to know, Grandma? Kansas replied with a smile. Good. How did you get along with Laura? Was she surprised to find out who you were? Janet asked. Did you like her? She's kinder than I thought. She's still worried about Daddy after 6 years. Jack never told anyone why he left her. I don't know how much he told you, but they seemed to love each other very much. Then one night Jack drove away, Janet recalled. I don't think he ever spoke to Laura again. I heard she didn't know why Jack left. She can't blame Daddy. She knows exactly why he left. She drove him away, Kansas said angrily. Okay, I think Jack already talked to you about that, Janet reasoned. Can you tell me why he left? Only Dad or Coach can explain it. I promised Dad I wouldn't tell anyone, Kansas replied. When Jack got home, he asked Kansas about practice during dinner. It didn't start smoothly, Kansas admitted. Coach was upset when I told her my name, but we talked, and it smoothed out. Jack noticed his mother wince and knew there was more to the story. Your coach is a friend of Laura's. Do you think you'll get a fair evaluation? Laura Masterson is my coach, Dad. Jack was speechless, realizing he made a mistake by not learning more about Laura's current situation. Jack's mother smiled broadly. She knew what conclusion Jack had come to. Mom, can you tell Kansas and me more about Laura? We'll have to talk to her regularly, Jack admitted. Laura is a math teacher at Stone Ridge High School and has coached soccer for 3 years. Last year, they only lost 2 games. She's either single or still married to you, depending on which rumors you believe. Most people think her husband ran off one stormy night because he had a girlfriend. That's not true. Daddy never cheated, Kansas objected. What did I tell you about that kind of talk? Jack interrupted. Speak and act respectfully around Laura. Please don't do anything that I'd have to apologize for. Kansas's face turned red as she looked down at her plate. Jack took a deep breath. What did you do, Kansas? How bad was it? I may have called her a bad name, but I apologized. I think we're okay now. She treated me the same as the other girls during practice. What exactly did you say? Jack asked. Kansas whispered in his ear. Janet couldn't hear but saw Jack's unhappy reaction. Kansas, I told you something in confidence and you couldn't keep it a secret, Jack complained. That puts me in an uncomfortable position. Learn from this mistake. I regretted it as soon as I said it. It hurt her more than I expected, Kansas admitted. She told the girls you were her ex-husband. Now we can find you a new wife. Laura struggled to act normal through the team's training session. At home, she sat in her favorite chair and cried for hours. School was still 2 weeks away, but fall sports practice had started. Laura still had to get ready for soccer practice, even though she didn't have to teach. As she rushed to her SUV to get her team gear, she almost collided with Jack Masterson. Hi, Laura. Can I talk to you? I want to apologize. I guess, Laura replied, though she found the idea of Jack apologizing to her ludicrous. Is there a problem? Kansas told me what she said yesterday. It was wrong. I tried to raise her better. I shouldn't have told her why we broke up. She and my cousin Brian are the only ones who know, Jack said. She's young and wanted to hurt you. Laura couldn't help but notice how good Jack looked in a simple t-shirt and jeans. His muscles were defined, and his hair was longer but suited him. His jaw was strong and his smile infectious. She didn't say anything untrue. We both know that, Jack. Unless you think I'm beautiful, that's the only thing you can argue with, Laura replied, wiping away tears. I don't want you to suffer because of what happened 6 years ago, Jack replied. It's over. We've both moved on. It's time to bury the past. Over and done with? Laura repeated. Sounds simple. We'll just act like we were never in love, never married, and I never had fun with that idiot. It should work, she said as tears flowed. Jack wanted to hold Laura, but feared giving the wrong signal. He stood there watching her. Laura finally pulled herself together. I'm sorry, Jack. For a lot of things. I was foolish to sleep with that guy and let people think you dumped me for no reason. I kept hoping you'd come back and forgive me. I never told anyone the truth. I'm going to now. You don't deserve the nasty comments or the community's scorn. I forced you to leave. I know you'll never accept my actions. I wouldn't forgive myself either.
Laura, I'm fine. I didn't have ill feelings about leaving. People thought I was an idiot for leaving a beautiful woman. They questioned my sanity, not my character, Jack replied. You've always been a gentleman, Laura said. Your daughter is delightful. Please don't be too hard on her. I think she's going to be my star player.
It was nice to see you and lighten the mood, Jack replied. We'll see a lot of Kansas on your team. I hope we can get along without drama. You've become even more beautiful since we got married. Thank you, Laura replied. You look more chiseled than before. Thanks for straightening things out. Jack noticed a group of girls watching him talk to Laura, so he nodded and walked back to his truck. Was that Kansas's father? A red-haired girl exclaimed. He's handsome. My dad is balding and has a big belly. Why did Coach Masterson dump him? Another girl wondered. Maybe I'll tell my mom about him. During soccer season, Laura often took her parents out to dinner. After the second night of practice, the family gathered for dinner. How's the team? Her father asked. Will the girls perform as well as last year? I think we'll have the best team, Laura replied, considering how much to say about Jack and Kansas. Your best player is back, right? Kate asked. She has another year before high school. We have a new top player, Laura said. You saw her the other day. You mean Jack's daughter? She plays soccer on your team. That's hard to believe, Kate chuckled. Tell us about her. She's fast, athletic, and smart. Most girls like her, Laura explained. She's also very nice. Wow, Kate exclaimed. How did she react to you? Did she know her stepmom was her coach? She was as surprised as I was. When I introduced myself as Coach Masterson, she knew I was married to her dad. I think we'll get along great. Have you seen Jack? Janet asked. Did he talk to you? I talked to him today before practice. We worked some things out. It wasn't as awkward as I feared, Laura admitted. What exactly did you find out? Janet asked. He apologized. We had a mature conversation without accusations. Jack was a gentleman, Laura admitted. He even said I was prettier than when we got married. Well, you're not married to him anymore, so you're free to find someone who will treat you right, Janet said. I almost had it all, Mom, Laura said, tears running down her cheeks. I didn't deserve a good husband. I didn't keep the one I had. He's the one who got away, her father remarked. I should go find him and kick his back. I wouldn't try that, Dad. He's much stronger and more confident now, Laura replied. Did he seem torn, Laura? Kate asked. That's an understatement. I appreciate you wanting to protect me, Dad, but don't confront Jack. He's different now. He's matured. That's it? Janet asked. After 6 years, he comes back with a daughter and doesn't explain himself to you? Mom, it never occurred to Sis to slap him. She's still in love with him. Look at her. I can't explain it, but she loves him more now than when he left, Kate stated. I'm just a fool. I ruined the best thing I ever had, Laura sobbed. I deserve to be laughed at. Sis, you're not stupid, Kate replied. If you still love him, I'm on your side. I want to see you happy again. There's nothing anyone can do. He divorced me. We'll never be together. Help me accept that it's over. Kate hugged her sister. She decided to talk to Jack and see if they had any chance of being together again. The next morning, Jack was giving orders to his men when Kate walked in. The men knew about his history with Laura and remained silent as she approached. What can I do for you, Kate? Jack asked professionally. I want to take you to lunch at Ellie's. Meet me there at noon. Jack agreed, not wanting to refuse in front of others. He always liked Kate and didn't mind having lunch with her. Kate was already seated when Jack arrived. She stood up and hugged him. Thanks for coming, Jack. You look great. You've become a beautiful woman, Kate. It's good for my ego to be seen with you, Jack replied. You've always been a gentleman. Let's order and catch up. I have a lot of questions, Kate admitted. First, how did you get so fit? Once they ordered, Jack began answering Kate's questions. When I left Stone Ridge, I visited my cousin Brian. We had chatted on Facebook and he was always friendly. Brian's wife Anna had died a few years earlier. Kansas was 7 when I first met her. Brian was diagnosed with cancer 18 months ago. We became close, and he decided to help me legally adopt Kansas before he died. We finalized everything just before he passed away, Jack explained sadly. Oh, Jack, that must have been hard. Kansas is a terrific girl. It's amazing a single man could adopt a teenage girl. I've heard how difficult that is, Kate said. I didn't know Laura had divorced me, so I indicated on the paperwork that I was married. Kansas is my life now. I can't imagine not having her. She worries about the adoption and wants to help me find a wife, Jack replied. Kate knew Laura thought Jack had divorced her, while Jack thought Laura had divorced him. Kate stored that info for later. Jack, I wanted to talk to you about Laura. You know how beautiful she is. She graduated and got her teaching degree 2 years ago. She bought a small ranch and is adored by the kids at school. She hasn't seen anyone since you left. Is there any chance you two could get back together? You were the perfect couple, Kate said. I'm sorry, Kate, that's not going to happen. We've both changed and gone our separate ways. There's nothing left between us, Jack replied. But you've both changed for the better, Kate argued. I'm sure she still loves you, Jack. What happened to make you leave? She never blamed me. She just said we disagreed and I left. She kept waiting for me to come back, Jack said with a faint smirk. It took me 6 years, but now I'm back. What have you been doing? You've obviously gained muscle, Kate remarked. Brian bought a large warehouse during the last recession. He built a gym and a dojo. We started holding yoga classes upstairs. I became a yoga instructor, personal trainer, and weekend sensei for teens. Did you ever finish your degree? Kate asked. Yes, I took night classes and even got a teaching certificate. It helped when I taught martial arts and yoga. Brian and I both had degrees, which made us seem more legitimate. Saying goodbye, Kate hugged Jack. I enjoyed our lunch. I'm sorry you're not going back to Laura, but I hope we can remain friends. I'd love that, Jack replied. Say hello to your folks for me. I'd advise you to avoid them. They're not happy with how things turned out with Laura, Kate advised. That's not surprising, Jack chuckled. I don't blame them for disliking me. I'd be shocked if they didn't love me. The next morning, Laura felt better. She had made peace with Jack and herself. She wished she hadn't cheated and that Jack still loved her, but she had to move on. At practice, Laura saw Kansas doing stretching exercises. The other girls soon joined her. How can you bend like that and keep your balance? One girl asked after falling. It seems like you're defying gravity. My dad taught me stretching from yoga and martial arts. He could teach you, but I can't. I can do it, but I don't know how to teach it, Kansas admitted. Your dad? Can he do those stretches? An incredulous friend asked. I thought men couldn't bend as well as women, especially guys with muscles like your dad's. They can if they work at it. Most men prefer martial arts where they can punch and block. Most of Dad's physique comes from yoga. Maybe he can show us how, another girl suggested. Maybe after practice, we could stay longer to learn. I don't know if Dad has the time. Besides, I don't think Coach would agree to it. He's very careful about dealing with underage girls. There's always at least one adult present during sessions. Kansas, if Jack wants to show the girls how to do stretches, I'll gladly stay and chaperone, Laura interjected. We could really get into our opponents' heads before matches. Jack was surprised when he picked up Kansas after practice. All the girls, Laura, and several mothers greeted him. Dad, the girls want to learn my stretching routine. I told them you're a yoga instructor and might practice with us after practice for half an hour. Laura watched Jack's face soften as he listened to Kansas. She felt a pang of jealousy over the love he felt for his daughter. I guess I can, but I need at least one adult present at all times, Jack insisted. Kansas told us you need an adult. I promised to chaperone. Is it okay if I practice with the girls? Laura asked. Some of us moms would like to join too. I could use any improvement, a slightly overweight red-haired woman added. We'll start tomorrow. Dress appropriately for yoga. I'll be teaching the girls, who will probably progress faster. The moms shouldn't be upset if the kids advance quicker, Jack warned. Jack never managed to keep his yoga sessions under an hour. The girls practiced hard, aiming to match Kansas's grace and strength. 3 single moms also showed up faithfully, clearly interested in more than just yoga. Jack enjoyed working with the girls, learning their names and knowing many of their families from growing up in Stone Ridge. He appreciated how seriously they took his instructions. Laura was different. She dressed more conservatively than the other moms, but looked amazing. She was trim, strong, and could master many yoga positions as well as, if not better than, the girls. She was friendly yet professional. Before the third game against a local rival, the girls did pre-match stretching. Kansas played music on a Bluetooth speaker while leading her team. Players and fans from the other school watched in amazement. Their performance led to a solid victory over their opponent. After the game, Kansas approached Laura with an idea. Have you thought about entering Harper's soccer tournament? Our team fits perfectly in the 12-14 group. I think we could do well. I know about the tournament, Laura admitted. The competition is intense, and the entry fee is $500. The school board wouldn't approve that expense. What if we performed independently of the school and a local business donated the entry fee? Kansas asked seriously. Laura saw the determination in Kansas and the other girls. They wanted to compete and have her as their coach.
You realize the opponents will be much tougher, right? Every game will be against an all-star team, Laura said. Coach, I played in this tournament last year. We won 2 games and lost the third by 1 goal to the team that won the tournament. I know our team is good enough. We just need a good coach. You said you already have a sponsor? Laura asked.
Yes, local businesses will cover the entry fee and motel rooms. The tournament is over Columbus Day weekend, so we'll be there for 3 nights. Laura admired Kansas's planning and enthusiasm. She felt proud of the team and decided to support them. Let's do it, Laura agreed. There's no better way to improve than to play against the best. Tell me what needs to be done.
Thank you, Coach,
the girls cheered. Kansas handed Laura a paper. Here's the site and your login. You need to register us by midnight. The entry fee is already paid. You've got it all under control, Laura chuckled. Our team is called the Ridge Runners. We'll have t-shirts with our names and team name.
Is Jack sponsoring the team?
Laura asked Kansas privately.
Our sponsor prefers to remain anonymous, Kansas replied with a smile. But they insisted you agree to coach us, or the deal is off. They believe you're an excellent coach and role model. Then Jack will stay away, won't he? Laura joked. Don't underestimate Dad, Kansas cautioned. He keeps a close eye on everything. He wants the best for the team.
2 weeks later, Kansas led the team in warm-ups before their first game. A large crowd from Stone Ridge came to support them. Jack watched proudly as Kansas kept the team smiling and laughing. The other team watched their warm-ups closely, impressed by their stretching and poses. The match started with the other team scoring 2 quick goals. Laura was concerned about her team's ability to bounce back. They hadn't lost a game all season. When an opposing player was injured and helped off the field, Laura pulled Kansas off and sent in a substitute. Do you see that girl? We have to stop her from scoring. She's making plays all over the field. Pressure her when she gets the ball. If we stop her, we can win. After that, the Ridge Runners settled down and kept the other team's best player from taking good shots. The half ended with a 2-goal difference. Girls, you know I emphasize team play. They focused on Kansas and chased her all half. We need the rest of you to step up. When Kansas moves to one side, pass to the other. Their goalie hasn't been tested much. Make her work. The Ridge Runners came out in the second half with a more aggressive attitude. They started shooting more and scored twice off rebounds. With under a minute left, Kansas scored, giving the Ridge Runners a 1-goal lead. They held on to win and advanced to the next round. The girls were ecstatic, hugging each other, Laura, and their fans. Laura saw Jack hugging Kansas. One of the team moms hugged and kissed him on the cheek. Laura felt a bit upset, but knew she couldn't complain. As she turned to go to her parents, Jack wrapped his arms around her. She hadn't felt this close to him in almost 7 years. Jack lifted her off her feet effortlessly. Great coaching job, Jack praised. Kansas told me you did well. Thanks for treating the girls so well. Thank you for sponsoring us and getting us rooms, Laura replied. Some girls could never afford the trip. It was very generous. I'd do anything to make Kansas happy, Jack admitted. She wanted the other girls to have this experience. She enjoyed it last year and thinks you're a great coach. Dad, Kansas called out, you got a death grip on our coach. If you don't want me to call her Coach Mom, you should put her down so we can all hug her. Sorry, Laura, Jack said, setting her down gently. I got carried away. I don't think she minded, Kansas pointed out as Laura blushed. The whole team and most of the fans stayed to watch the next game to learn about their next opponents. The next morning, Kansas led her team to a 5-3 victory, scoring 3 goals. The win advanced the Ridge Runners to the semifinals against a travel team Kansas had played before. Before the game, Kansas chatted with girls from the other team. It was clear she liked her former teammates, and Jack was popular with their supporters, especially the mothers. Several moms hugged Jack and wished him well. During the game, Laura saw a different side of Jack. When a referee, a local high school girl, made a mistake, a large man stepped onto the field, shouting threats and obscenities at her. Laura headed toward the man, but Jack reached the girl first, hugging her as she sobbed. The woman in the bleachers made a statement heard by everyone present. Jack Masterson is going to kick this guy's back. The rough man heard the statement and turned to Jack. I may have gotten carried away. I didn't mean anything by it. Apologize to Macy and then leave, Jack growled, patting the girl on the back. These kids are doing a great job. They deserve our thanks, not bullying. The man considered Jack's words, and then a woman's voice from the bleachers said,
You better take Jack up on his offer or he'll punch you like a rented mule.
Laura spotted the woman who had such faith in Jack. She was a short blonde in her 40s, dressed in jeans and a cotton shirt. Laura realized she had seen this woman offer a drink to the girl clinging to Jack. The man made a decision. I apologize, miss. I overreacted. You girls are doing a great job. With those words, the man left. Macy, still in Jack's arms, gradually calmed down. Jack handed her a napkin to wipe her eyes. She smiled, stood on tiptoe, and kissed Jack on the cheek. Thank you, Jack. I knew you'd stop that man. Mom was right. You were ready to kick his back. I'm glad he didn't make you. Macy returned to the field while fans and players clapped and cheered. The officials discussed how much time remained and who had possession when play resumed. Macy's mom explained to the other fans that Macy had gone to Jack's dojo last year. She thinks Jack hung the moon, and I can't argue with that. No one can insult a woman when Jack is around. Rick Jefferson is a pretty big guy and known to fight. I was afraid he'd hurt Jack, stated a Ridge Runner mom. Jack Masterson? Macy's mom asked. Have you seen him compete? Jack would kick that guy's back. Play resumed with less than a minute left. Kansas gained possession and passed to a teammate, who scored the winning goal. When the game ended, Kansas hugged most of the losing team. Jack was proud of her sportsmanship. Macy's mom hugged Jack tightly. Macy knew she could count on you. Her grades have improved, and she's going to a state college next fall to become a teacher. You set her on the right path. Why was Rick Jefferson here? Asked a Ridge Runner father. Sarah is his niece. She scored the winning goal, replied his wife. She must be embarrassed. The championship game was scheduled for the next morning. The Ridge Runners easily defeated the three teams they faced to reach the finals. Stone Ridge fans watched their girls excel. With less than 3 minutes left, a Kansas teammate deflected a pass, and Kansas scored to tie the game. Stone Ridge fans cheered loudly. The other team took their positions and continued playing. Despite their efforts, the Ridge Runners lost by 1 goal as their opponent scored with just a few seconds left. Laura watched with pride as her girls hugged and congratulated each other and the winning team. Parents and supporters expressed their pride. During the awards ceremony, Ridge Runners players and fans gave a loud applause when Laura accepted the second-place trophy. The top player from the winning team received the MVP award. Kansas proudly displayed the sportsmanship trophy to her team and fans. After the ceremony, Kansas asked if she could ride home with some friends. After ensuring they had room and responsible drivers, Jack agreed. As the van pulled out, Jack felt someone take his hand.
She's a delightful girl, Jack. You're doing a great job with her, Laura said.
Despite their divorce, she believed they should have polite conversations. I have no idea how to raise a daughter. Women are a complete mystery to me, Jack admitted. You've proven that, Laura remarked, hiding her hurt. Jack, I was wrong. I have no excuse. You were right to leave me. Can we talk without insults and anger? You're right, Laura. No need to dwell on the past. You've done a great job coaching. Kansas thinks highly of you. We appreciate how fair you've been to her.
I may have been foolish when we got married, but I was never vindictive. I like Kansas and hope to stay friends with her after the season if you don't mind.
I'd like that. She needs adult role models. You're good for her, Jack replied. You've done well with her, Laura said. Everything I've heard about you is positive. Since returning to Stone Ridge, yes. Before that, not so much. I've learned from my mistakes. Your parents are watching us. They look upset, Jack noted. Yeah, they blame you because I never told them why you left, Laura admitted. They're good parents. It wouldn't have helped them to know. Thanks for talking to me. You're a good person, Laura. Later, Laura headed home with her parents. What did you and Jack talk about? Brenda asked. Family. I told him he's doing a great job with Kansas. He said you are great parents, Laura replied. Did he say that before or after seeing us shooting daggers at him? Janet asked. After. He understands why you dislike him, Laura said. I don't see how he can be so reasonable except about his marriage, her father grumbled. 3 days later, at dinner, Kate noticed Laura was in a bad mood. What's wrong, sis? Sarah Jefferson told me her Uncle Rick reported Jack for lying on the adoption paperwork, claiming he was still married to me. There will be an investigation, and Jack could lose Kansas. Kansas cried when she heard. Jack won't give up on her. He'd leave the country before losing her. He runs away when faced with a problem, Laura's father noted. Laura, you're still married to him, Kate announced. He thinks you divorced him, and you think he divorced you. You're just as married as the day you left the church. What difference does it make? Brenda dismissed. He's living as a single man with an adopted daughter. Laura, call Jack.
He and Kansas can move in with you and be the family he promised the court, Kate urged. I won't stand for it, Brenda declared. You don't know him anymore. He could be dangerous. Mom, Jack isn't cruel. He would never hurt me, Laura insisted. I'll go to him right now. Jack sat at the kitchen table with a sobbing Kansas on his lap. His distraught mother watched. The doorbell rang and Janet answered. Jack, can I talk to you and Kansas? Laura asked from the doorway. Now isn't a good time. We're going on a trip, Jack replied. You don't need to pack for a long trip, Laura said softly. Please don't. This doesn't concern you, Jack said impatiently. Jack, she's my daughter too. Kansas stopped sobbing and looked at Laura. Janet gasped. If you're trying to take Kansas away from me, you're in for one hell of a fight, Jack growled. You have no right to call her your daughter. Jack, I'm still your wife. The adoption papers list me as her mother, and some probably have my signature. I want you and Kansas to move in with me. If you're under investigation, it'll show we're a family solving the problem, Laura suggested. Kansas can stay in town, go to the same school, and you can still help Jeff with the business. That might work until you decide you've had enough of us, Jack remarked. You could kick us out anytime. I can't risk Kansas getting hurt. Jack, you know I wouldn't do that. I screwed up once, but that doesn't define me now. I'll put your name on the contract or let you pay the mortgage if it helps. I love Kansas like a daughter and would be honored to be her mother. Dad, can we try? Coach is a nice person. She won't hurt us, Kansas pleaded. What are your options, Jack? Run to a country with no extradition? This isn't a movie. You have a chance to give Kansas a stable home and a good school with her friends. Do what's best for her, Laura insisted. Jack fell silent, thinking. Finally, he said, Okay. The three women squealed with delight. Kansas rushed to hug Laura, who kissed her forehead. Tears streamed down Laura's face. I hate to interrupt, but we should move quickly. We don't know when officials might come, Jack announced. Let's see your house and plan. Of course, follow me to my house, Laura agreed. Can I go with Mom? Kansas asked. Mom, Jack repeated. Sure. Why do I feel like I've lost control? You only have 2 bedrooms, Jack noted, looking around Laura's house. How will it work? Simple math, Kansas said with a grin. 2 share a room, 1 gets their own. I'm not sharing a room with you, Kansas, Jack stated. Of course not, Kansas agreed. I'm a teenage girl and need my own room. You and Laura are married, so sharing a room shouldn't be a problem. We're pretending to be a normal family, Jack replied. Sharing a bed goes beyond that. Is it that hard? Laura interrupted. Kansas should have her own room. You and I can share mine. I have a double bed so you can keep your honor intact. I'll give you space in my closet. Jack and Kansas moved in before 11 p.m. Laura was moved to tears when Kansas asked her, Can I call you Mom? If it becomes a habit, it will seem natural if someone checks on us. Honey, nothing would make me happier, Laura whispered, tears in her eyes. What about school? What do I call you there? Kansas inquired. I'm going to be your mom anyway, so it'll be okay, Laura replied. I don't think that's a good idea, Jack cautioned. We need to act like we've been a family for a long time. If Kansas called you Coach last week, she should continue that. I'll be the only one going home with my mom after practice, helping her cook dinner and cleaning the house, Kansas promised. I can't wait to be part of a real family. Jack was about to warn Kansas not to go too far when Laura caught his eye and shook her head. Jack climbed under the covers. You sleep in pajamas now. You used to sleep undressed. I try to be a gentleman since Kansas started living with me, Jack explained. I won't call the police if you accidentally touch me in your sleep, Laura replied. If you forget who I am and act accordingly, I won't complain. Thank you, Laura. It's hardly a problem, Jack assured her, turning onto his back and falling asleep. Jack woke up at 5 a.m. He noted that he was still on his side of the bed. The next evening, Laura stopped by her mother's house after soccer practice. Kansas followed her in and stood before Brenda. Your daughter is my mom now. Can I call you Grandma? Brenda's resolve to show disapproval dissolved. Of course you can, Brenda exclaimed, hugging Kansas. Would you like some milk and cookies? Mom's heart is melted already, Kate joked, hugging Kansas. I'm your Aunt Kate, and you're my favorite niece. We're going to have so much fun. I'm getting a new grandmother and aunt, Kansas replied with a smile. Hopefully we'll spend more time together. Dad knows Grandma doesn't like him, so we'll meet when he's working. I really like your dad, Kate replied. He's a handsome man. How do he and your sister get along? Okay, I guess. They spent half an hour working out their rules for the bedroom. I don't have a normal family yet, Kansas added meaningfully. Do you think there's a chance? Kate asked. Dad's quite the catch, and Mom looks amazing. I think there's a chance, Kansas admitted as Laura blushed. You're not thinking of going back to Jack, are you? Brenda demanded. That's not the point, Mom. I came for your recipes, not to discuss my marriage, Laura objected. I don't know how things will turn out. Jack doesn't like me much right now, so take comfort in that. Jack entered Laura's house just as she and Kansas started dinner. He looked around and then went outside with a notebook and measuring tape. After dinner, Jack shared his thoughts. Laura, I want to add an extension to the house, 26 Evett by 14 Ott. This would give you a large bedroom, a big bathroom, a walk-in closet, and a half bath for guests. Can I show you my plans? That sounds great, but I can't afford it. I've already struggled with my mortgage, Laura replied. I'm willing to pay for the addition. You're making a huge sacrifice for Kansas and me. It'll increase your property value and give us more room, Jack said. Is sleeping with me really that bad? Do I make you sick? Laura asked, trying to keep her composure. No, it's not that. We just need more space. We'll still share the master bedroom, but be more comfortable, Jack explained. I'll agree if you promise to sleep with me the whole time we live together. Agree or leave, Laura demanded. Jack saw she was serious and glanced at Kansas, who was smirking. Deal, he said. The soccer team remained undefeated. As the season ended, Jack heard Laura recruiting Kansas for volleyball. He noticed how close Kansas and Laura had become. They joked, shopped, cooked, and played sports together. Kansas was happier than ever. Jack and Laura's relationship was complicated. Laura respected his boundaries and remained friendly. She never complained about the house renovations. Jack brought a backhoe and worked through the mild fall, aiming to finish by Christmas. Kansas and Laura were excited about the expansion. Kansas would move into Laura's old room, gaining her own bathroom and closet. Jack and Laura discussed how to handle any agency inquiries about Kansas. They developed a solid plan, but began to wonder if anyone would even investigate. They continued their sleeping arrangements, both wearing pajamas. One night, as Jack lay in bed, Laura tensed and placed her hand on his chest, then fell into a deep sleep. 2 days before Thanksgiving, Laura and Kansas came home to find Jack talking to a blonde woman in the driveway. Later, Jack told Laura it was Beth Harding. Laura tensed and asked, what did she want? Was she angry? Her husband Chuck has a brain tumor and is dying. She asked if I would visit him, Jack revealed. Don't do it. He wants to hurt you. Please don't let him, Laura begged. I told her I would. I want to hear what he has to say, Jack replied. He'll call me a strumpet and try to humiliate you. He's mean. It's my fault, but if he was a real man, he wouldn't go after a married woman, Laura reasoned. Why did you sleep with him then? That night, you didn't seem in pain. You kept saying his name and how good he was. I thought about eliminating you both, but I decided to leave instead, Jack recalled. I don't know why I did it, Laura sobbed. He was the big man on campus, a soccer star. I was young and foolish, thinking I could get away with it. It was my only affair, and it ruined my life. When I found your ring on the kitchen table, I knew it was over. Now I live with the guilt every day. I love Kansas, but we're not really a family. I can't make it up to you. We'll never have the love that binds a family together. It's all my fault, and I live with that knowledge every day. Why didn't you tell me you weren't happy or wanted to try other men? Jack asked softly. I didn't want other men. I just wanted to feel special for one night. The high school stud wanted me. Ironically, I became smarter after you left. You became kinder, more devoted. Believe it or not, that was the last time I had physical engaging, Laura said. You're the only man who ever made love to me. I now know the difference between love and physical engaging, and it's huge. I'll never forget rushing home from that seminar, only to find someone had taken my place, Jack replied glumly. You almost liquidated me, Laura. Just because you apologize doesn't make up for the pain I've endured for 6 years. I know, Jack. I don't deserve forgiveness. I've suffered too. I'm in a sham marriage to a wonderful man and a beautiful daughter. Every time I look at you or Kansas, I'm reminded of my stupidity. The pain has gotten worse as my love for you and Kansas has grown. I know you can never love me again, and I can't be Kansas's mother if you don't. I'm just trying to enjoy every day we have together, knowing it will end soon, Laura admitted. Every night I hope you'll touch me, kiss me, make love to me, but it never happens. You just put up with me. It's my fault. Karma's a cow. In early December, Jack visited Chuck Harding in the hospital. Chuck looked like a skeleton. Jack, thanks for coming. If you want to slap me or strangle me, go ahead. I deserve it, Chuck said. I just came to see how happy I am that you're dying, Jack said. If you look closely, you'll see me smiling.
I thought my suffering would make you feel better, Chuck admitted. It makes me feel good to know I am making amends, even if I have to die to do it.
That's nonsense, Jack replied. What do you really want?
I did you wrong, Jack. You caught me in bed with your wife, but you didn't eliminate me. I saw an old weapon leaning against the wall when I came downstairs. Laura only saw your ring on the table. To this day, I've never seen a man in as much pain as you were. I owe you, but I can't pay you back. My life isn't worth anything. I'm just offering you a chance to watch me die. It might bring you comfort, Harding said. How does your wife feel about that? Jack asked. I told her what I did. She understands I want to ease my conscience. My pass away won't bring me forgiveness, but it might make you feel better. Just don't applaud when the Grim Reaper takes me. It will hurt Beth, and she doesn't deserve that. Why did you do it, Chuck? Laura was everything to me, and you ruined it, Jack growled.
Because I was a fool. Because I could, Chuck admitted. I didn't care that your marriage broke up. Laura meant nothing to me. I'm ashamed to admit it.
It wasn't personal? Jack asked. You weren't trying to ruin my life?
I hardly knew who you were. Laura was just a beautiful woman to me, a little married wife on the side.
If you weren't so sick, I'd kick your back, Jack threatened. If I weren't so sick, I'd want you to, Chuck replied. I've grown up, but too late. There's no excuse for my actions. You miserable idiot, Jack snarled. I'd be doing the world a favor if I held this pillow over your face. True, but you'd be in a lot of trouble. Liquidating a dying person is still a crime, Chuck reasoned. Why don't you just visit when you get a chance? You might see me going on a happy hunt. Jack had never been angrier. This guy had ruined his marriage just because he wanted another man's wife. To Jack, Laura was the perfect wife, devoted and willing to share her life with him. Then Chuck Harding decided he wanted her. I guess I'll take you up on your offer, fool, Jack replied. I'll be pissing on your grave in a few days. Jack kept his word and visited Chuck several times a week, but didn't tell Laura or Kansas. He knew his intentions were unhealthy. On his third visit, Chuck's wife Beth and their little boy were there. Jack nodded to her, sat down, but soon left the room. He couldn't rejoice in even a vile man's pass away while his family was there. Jack vowed to keep watching Chuck die. Next time, Chuck was in a pensive mood. You left because my wife and child were here, didn't you? It's hard to rejoice in my pass away when you see innocent people suffering, Chuck said. I'm here to see you die. I have no issue with your family, Jack replied, realizing he sounded pathetic. Chuck talked about his son and wife, trying to gain sympathy, but Jack wasn't swayed. On Christmas Eve, Jack visited Chuck again, who had weakened considerably. Chuck, I hate what you did, but I can't keep hating you. I've realized the best revenge is to live well. I'll make sure your wife and son are taken care of. You'll die knowing that the man whose life you ruined is taking care of your family, Jack said. I can see why you think that's revenge. You're not good at it. My despicable act somehow secured my family's future, Chuck replied weakly. It's the best I could come up with, Jack offered. I won't come in again. Watching you suffer doesn't give me pleasure. You realize you're practically forgiving me, Chuck said. You endured what I did to you, something no man should forgive. I didn't say that. Think what you want, Jack replied. Why can you forgive me but not Laura, who loves you? Imagine how good it would feel to forgive her, to have her in your arms, to have children with her. Wouldn't that be better than punishing her? Chuck asked. Screw you, Harding. You're the one who said I forgave you, Jack snarled. Not in so many words. But you did. Please give Laura my apologies, Chuck said softly. Jack left the hospital furious. Chuck thought he'd been forgiven and wanted Jack to forgive Laura. Jack was still angry as he drove home. He regretted visiting Chuck. When Jack got home, his driveway was clogged with cars. He had forgotten about the Christmas party Laura and Kansas were throwing. As he entered, the guests fell silent. Laura and Kansas were serving drinks when Jack walked in, looking visibly upset. What's wrong, Jack? Laura asked anxiously. Do you really want to be my wife? Jack demanded. Yes, I do, Laura replied quietly. A wife gives her husband all her love. She belongs to him, only to him, Jack said firmly. I agree, Laura said, tears in her eyes. A husband takes care of his family. He deserves respect, Jack continued. Laura nodded, oblivious to everyone watching. A good wife won't complain if her husband takes her whenever he needs her, including right now on that damn big bed. Not if he loves her and she loves him, Laura agreed. Jack scooped Laura into his arms. Kansas, close the door behind us. Okay, Daddy, Kansas replied, closing the bedroom door. I'll entertain the guests.
What just happened?
Laura's mother asked.
Is Laura going to be okay?
Oh, yes, Kate said with a laugh.
Sis will be just fine.
Half an hour later, Jack and Laura, freshly showered and in new clothes, emerged from the bedroom. Laura snuggled up to Jack as the guests began to banter.
That didn't take long,
remarked one of Jack's workers. Hope the boss finished the job.
He did very well.
Thanks for asking, Laura cooed, kissing Jack on the cheek.
Jack, I don't know what happened between you and my daughter, but her mother and I are glad things are better now,
Laura's father said, shaking Jack's hand.
Just don't do it again.
That won't happen. Laura and I will be together from now on, Jack replied, glancing at Laura.
Funny how nothing came of that threat, Kate remarked.
I was interviewed at school, Kansas admitted.
I said we had a great family, that Mom and Dad loved me and each other. I wanted us to stay together. Why were you so emotional when you got home? Jack's mom asked. I was figuring out who I was hurting and why. Revenge hurts the one seeking it most. I needed to treat myself better. Laura will have to suffer with me for the rest of our lives, Jack said,